The moment I pushed open that heavy oak door of the Gomez family home in San Francisco, I felt the air shift like I'd just stepped into a room where everyone had been talking about me seconds before. My name is Adriana Gomez. I'm 33 years old, and I'd spent the last few months preparing for this exact moment. Donna's eyes flicked down to my simple black dress, the modest flats I'd chosen, the lack of any flashy jewelry, and I saw her lips tighten just a fraction. Harper, standing beside her, didn't even try to hide the smirk as she took in my appearance, her gaze lingering on the old sedan I'd parked in their circular driveway. It was clear they had already sized me up and decided I didn't belong. They had spent years telling their remaining children that their eldest daughter had gotten lost at 5 years old during a crowded mall trip, a tragic accident that tore the family apart. And now here I was, the long-lost sister returned after decades. The one they'd finally tracked down through a DNA match. The one they'd invited to this emotional reunion dinner. But what they didn't know was that I'd come here with a plan. I'd deliberately dressed down, driven my oldest car, and kept every detail of my life in Los Angeles completely vague. I wanted to see how this family, this blood family I'd never known, would treat someone they assumed had nothing to offer. Someone who in their eyes was just a poor stranger showing up at their door after all these years. Because the man who raised me after I was found wandering alone that day had taught me one crucial lesson. People's true colors only come out when they think you're beneath them. When they believe you can't help them, can't hurt them, and have zero value in their world. And tonight I was about to put that lesson to the ultimate test. Before I continue with what happened next, if you're enjoying this story so far, please hit that like button and drop a comment below, telling me where you're watching from and what time it is there right now. I absolutely love reading those. It makes me feel connected to all of you, tuning in from around the world at all hours. Okay, back to the story. Everything started with that DNA test I took on a whim. Just curious about my roots after hearing so many ads for those ancestry kits. I'd always known my early years were a blank slate. The man who raised me, Alexander Reyes, a successful businessman who'd built his fortune from nothing, found me at 5 alone and confused in a crowded mall parking lot outside Los Angeles. He told me the story often, how he'd spotted a little girl crying near the cars, no parents in sight. He waited with me while security called the police, but hours passed with no one coming forward. Searches turned up nothing, no missing child report matching exactly, no family claiming me. Alexander fought through the courts to become my guardian, then adopted me fully. He gave me a stable home in a quiet LA suburb, private schools, college at a top university, and later when he passed a substantial inheritance that set me up for life. He never pushed for answers about my origins, saying family was who chose you, not just blood. But as I got older, the questions lingered. Who were they? Why no one looked so late. One night after work, I ordered the kit from one of those popular sites, swabbed, sent it off, and moved on. The notification email surprised me months later while I was grabbing coffee before a meeting. Strong matches, parents Stephen and Donna Gomez in San Francisco plus siblings. My hands shook as I logged in. The family tree outline showed me as the eldest daughter born 33 years ago. Photos attached from public profiles, Donna with perfectly styled hair at charity events, Stephen at business openings, a son Jordan in his mid-30s looking confident in suits, a daughter Harper late 20s posing in designer clothes. The platform offered to connect anonymously. I hesitated, then sent a message. This is the match for the kit ID. I think we might be related. The reply came fast from Donna. It was long, emotional, full of details about the day I got lost. A family outing to a busy mall in the Bay Area, holding my hand one moment, gone the next amid the holiday crowds. Panic searches, police involvement, years of grief. They'd never stopped hoping. Now this proof through science. She attached old photos, a toddler with my features, family portraits from before. We moved to email, then a phone call. Donna's voice cracked as she recounted the story again, Stephen joining in, saying how the house never felt complete. They had Jordan a couple years later, then Harper, but the loss shaped everything. They begged to meet soon, no rush, but sooner the better, a dinner at home to reconnect gently. I listened, heart pounding with mixed emotions. Joy at finding answers, but unease creeping in. The mall story matched what Alexander had shared from the reports, but timelines felt slightly off, the location farther north than I'd remembered hearing. And why no widespread alerts if it was so traumatic? Still, families cope differently. This could be real closure. We set the date for the next weekend, 6-hour drive up the coast, giving me time to think. Alexander's words echoed, observe how people act when they assume you're ordinary. I'd built a solid career, senior executive in tech, but no need to lead with that. Better to keep things low-key, see the dynamics naturally. I chose simple clothes, jeans, a plain sweater, minimal makeup. Drove my older sedan, the one I kept for everyday errands, instead of the garage-kept upgrade. If work came up, I'd call it administrative support, true enough in broad terms without the details. Approaching San Francisco, the city rose with its iconic hills and bridges shrouded in morning fog. Pacific Heights address led to a stunning Victorian home, tall, ornate, with bay windows and a small but impeccable garden. Luxury vehicles lined the curb. My car stood out plainly as I parked. Nerves hit as I walked the stone path. The door swung open almost immediately. Donna greeted, first elegant in tailored pants and a cashmere top, hugging me tightly, though we'd never met. Her perfume was expensive, her smile bright, but eyes appraising quickly. Stephen followed, tall and distinguished, handshake firm and welcoming. "You look just like the old photos," he said warmly. Jordan emerged from the hallway, broad-shouldered, easy grin clapping me on the back like an old friend. "Welcome home, sis." Harper lingered behind, younger and polished, flashing a quick smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "Hi. Long time." They led me through the entry's soaring ceilings, polished floors, subtle art pieces that screamed curated taste. The living room overlooked the bay, furniture arranged perfectly, fresh orchids on the coffee table. Photos everywhere, beach vacations, holiday gatherings, milestones with Jordan and Harper prominent. Younger versions of Stephen and Donna beaming, no traces of a child before them, no empty spaces hinting at loss. Conversation flowed carefully at first, safe topics like the drive up, Bay Area weather versus LA. I answered honestly but sparsely, letting them fill the air. Donna poured wine, asking about my place down south. "Cozy apartment," I said. "Nothing special." Stephen mentioned their bakery chain, proudly artisanal spots dotted around the city, known for sourdough and pastries. "Family business keeps us busy." As we shifted toward the dining room, scents of roasted herbs and fresh bread wafting in, the group dynamic settled. Polite questions, shared glances, an undercurrent I couldn't yet name. The table awaited, elegantly set, and dinner was ready to begin. The first reunion dinner unfolded in the dining room, with flickering candlelight casting long shadows across the long mahogany table. Plates of artisanal starters appeared, sourdough slices from their own bakeries, topped with local cheeses and figs, served by quiet staff who melted into the background. We took our seats, Donna at one end, Stephen at the other. Jordan to my right, Harper across from me, and an older gentleman introduced simply as Henry Walsh, a longtime family friend, to my left. Conversation started light, almost rehearsed. Donna leaned forward, her diamond earrings catching the light as she smiled warmly. "Tell us everything about your life down in LA. What do you do these days?" I kept it simple as planned. "I work in tech support, mostly helping teams stay organized, scheduling, that kind of thing. It's steady." Her eyebrows lifted just a touch, the smile holding but something shifting behind it. "Tech support. How? Practical. Must keep you busy." Stephen nodded approvingly from his end. Reliable work. We need more of that. Jordan chimed in, casually swirling his wine. Which company, big name or startup? Mid-sized firm, I replied vaguely. Nothing you'd know. Harper let out a soft laugh, setting down her glass. A cozy apartment in LA on support pay sounds quaint. Bet the traffic alone makes it feel smaller. The words landed sharper than the tone suggested. I smiled back. It's comfortable enough. Close to work. Donna jumped in quickly, steering away. And hobbies. You must have interests outside the office. Reading, mostly hiking when I can. Simple stuff. Harper's eyes narrowed playfully, or what passed for it. Simple? Cute. We have a guest house out back, if you ever want something bigger than cozy. Though I'm guessing you're used to making do. The jab was direct now, wrapped in sisterly teasing that didn't feel sisterly at all. Jordan chuckled along, but his gaze lingered, assessing. Stephen cleared his throat, launching into the story I'd heard pieces of already. That day at the mall, it haunts us still. You were holding my hand 1 second, then crowds surged during the holiday rush. We searched everywhere, called your name for hours. Police reports, posters, nothing. He paused, voice thickening. We thought we'd lost you forever. Details flowed: the specific mall in Daly City, the red coat I wore, how Donna collapsed when hope faded. But gaps nagged at me: the exact timing versus what Alexander had pieced together from reports, the lack of mention about alerts beyond local. Donna dabbed her eyes delicately. It changed everything. We were so young, building the business from scratch. Harper rolled her eyes subtly. Yeah, and now here you are, this poor stranger dropping in out of nowhere after all this time. Life's weird. The phrase hung there. Poor stranger. Not lost sister. Not family returned. Stranger. Henry Walsh had been quiet until then, nursing his drink. When he looked up, his sharp eyes fixed on me, longer than comfortable, brow furrowing like he was placing a memory. You remind me of someone, he murmured, almost to himself. From years back. Donna shot him a quick glance. Henry's been around forever, helped with early contracts when we expanded the shops. He nodded but didn't elaborate, just kept studying me with that puzzled expression. I answered questions modestly: rent costs down south, weekend routines, nothing flashy. Each response drew subtle reactions, Donna's polite nods masking quick scans of my outfit again, Harper's occasional smirks, Jordan probing gently about future plans as if gauging potential. Dishes came and went: roast chicken with herbs, fresh salads, their signature pastries for dessert. Laughter surfaced at old family anecdotes involving Jordan's college pranks or Harper's latest trips. But I stayed on the edges, observer more than participant. By coffee, the undercurrents felt clearer. Welcoming words clashed with tones, glances the way Harper referred to your little LA setup. Or Donna's sympathetic, it must be hard starting over alone. Doubt solidified inside me, not proof, yet just instinct honed from Alexander's lessons. These people were performing reunion, but something fundamental felt off. Henry caught my eye once more as plates cleared his stare, thoughtful, almost searching. Whatever he saw kept him silent, but it added another layer to the evening's unease. Dessert finished, chairs pushed back slowly. The night wasn't over, but the real observations had only begun. After dinner, I excused myself to wander the hallways, claiming I wanted to see old photos and stretch my legs a bit. The house felt even larger, up close, wide corridors lined with framed awards for their bakery expansions, shelves of cookbooks and trophies from food festivals. I passed the kitchen where staff cleaned up efficiently, then turned down a quieter wing toward what looked like a study. Voices drifted from a door left slightly ajar, light spilling into the dim hall. Donna's tone, first low and urgent. I slowed, instinct telling me to listen without revealing myself. This reunion story is gold, she was saying. The press will eat it up, a family torn apart for decades, miraculously brought back together through modern science. We can pitch it to every local outlet, tie it to the new seasonal line. Customers love feel-good narratives right now. Harper responded with a dry laugh, especially with ingredient costs through the roof and those big chains undercutting us everywhere. Sales are down, 15% last quarter. We need something to bring foot traffic back. Exactly. A soft launch event, maybe invite a few influencers. From tragedy to triumph angle. It'll buy us time with the banks too, they're breathing down our necks about the loans. I pressed closer to the wall, heart picking up pace. This wasn't grief talking, it was strategy. Donna continued, voice dropping further. But we have to be careful about her. She shows up after all this time. What if she starts asking about inheritance rights or old assets? Even if there's nothing legal after so many years, it could stir things up. Harper snorted. Look at her mom. That dress probably came off a rack at some discount store, and did you see the car she's scraping by on whatever admin job she has? Doubt she's got lawyers on speed dial or even knows where to start. Probably just grateful to be here. Still better safe. I'll have our attorney draft a simple disclaimer, waive any future claims in exchange for, I don't know, a family gesture. Make it sound generous. Smart. She'll sign without thinking twice. Poor thing, looks like she could use the validation more than money. The casual dismissal hit hard, the way Harper said poor thing, with that edge of amusement. They weren't plotting harm, just protecting their version of the story using mine as a prop. And the business trouble explained the urgency, rising flour and butter prices hitting artisan spots, hard competition from grocery chains, and online delivery crushing margins. I backed away silently, mind racing. No full picture yet, just enough to confirm the welcome wasn't pure. The hugs, the tears earlier, it all felt staged now, a means to an end. Returning to the group in the living room, I slipped into small talk with Stephen about neighborhood changes, Jordan sharing bakery anecdotes. Henry Walsh watched from his chair, that odd recognition still in his expression, but he stayed quiet. Coffee arrived rich and dark from their own roast. Surface chatter resumed, plans for weekend outing suggestions. I stay longer. I nodded along, filing away every nuance. Inside pieces shifted. The reunion wasn't about mending a family, it was damage control wrapped in sentiment. And my role, the perfect harmless symbol until proven otherwise. The evening wound down with promises of more time together. Hugs at the door felt rehearsed again. Driving away into the foggy night, the city's lights blurring past, questions multiplied. Not answers yet, but direction. The weeks that followed, I suggested staying at the house a while longer to get to know everyone better. They agreed quickly, too quickly perhaps, with Donna insisting the guest room was mine as long as I needed. It felt like the perfect way to watch things unfold without raising flags. I settled into a routine, playing the eager older sister discovering her roots. Mornings helping in the kitchen with test batches for new pastries, afternoons joining Stephen on quick visits to a couple of their locations around the city. Evenings often meant group dinners or casual lounges where stories flowed. All the while, I kept my responses modest, talking about long hours at a desk job, tight budgets in LA, no big adventures. The role fit easily. They seemed to accept it without question. One afternoon, while the others were out, I slipped away to a quiet corner of the garden and dialed the number Henry Walsh had quietly passed me that first night, scribbled on a business card. He answered on the second ring, voice calm but alert. We met discreetly a few days later at a small cafe in the Mission District, far from their usual spots. Over coffee, he opened up. He'd known Alexander Reyes well, served as his attorney on several deals back when my adoptive father was expanding his real estate holdings. Henry had handled trusts, contracts, even some charitable foundations Alexander set up. Then he mentioned the Gomez family. Years ago, when their bakery chain was scaling up, they'd approached Alexander for investment. Negotiations soured fast. Stephen pushed aggressive terms, and when Alexander pulled out, the Gomezes spread rumors that damaged a partnership Henry was brokering. Nothing illegal, just sharp business that left bad blood. Henry never forgot. Now seeing me at their table, pieces clicked. "You have his eyes," he said simply, and that same quiet watchfulness. I shared what I'd overheard: the PR plans, the worry about claims. He nodded slowly. "They're in deeper than they let on. I still have contacts in banking circles." From there, we worked carefully. Henry pulled public records, first loan filings showing mounting debt as supply costs spiked and foot traffic dipped. Then, through old connections, access to redacted internal reports that hinted at irregularities, expenses not matching revenue transfers to personal accounts. The pattern centered on Harper. Designer handbags appearing regularly, spontaneous trips to Napa resorts, or weekend getaways to Lake Tahoe, all while the company trimmed staff hours to cut costs. Transfers started small, petty cash here, vendor overpayments there, but accumulated into substantial sums over years. Jordan's angle emerged more subtly. During family brainstorming sessions about marketing, he repeatedly floated ideas involving me: professional photos for social media, sister reunion features in local magazines, even a short video series on the shop's family story. No, always framed as helpful, but the enthusiasm felt calculated, like leveraging an asset. I watched Harper closely: new earrings one day, a luxury watch the next, laughing about retail therapy, while Donna fretted aloud about quarterly projections. The contrast sharpened everything. Stephen stayed polished, discussing expansion dreams that sounded increasingly strained. Donna orchestrated outings, snapping candid shots for memories, but I noticed how she angled them for best lighting, best branding. Nights alone in the guest room, I reviewed documents Henry forwarded, securely scans of statements, timelines, matching suspicious withdrawals to Harper's purchases. No outright accusation yet, just mounting evidence. Doubt turned to certainty gradually. The welcome had been convenient, the affection conditional. My presence served a narrative they desperately needed. Henry warned patience was key. Build it solid. When the time comes, it'll hold. Staying longer bought that time. Surface harmony continued: shared meals, light conversations, but underneath, I cataloged every inconsistency, every slip. The bigger event they were planning loomed closer, talk of a public celebration growing. For now, I smiled, nodded, waited. The night of the big reunion party arrived, with the backyard transformed under strings of warm lights and elaborate floral arrangements everywhere. White tents covered the lawn tables, set with the family's signature desserts on display, a string quartet playing softly near the fountain. Local reporters mingled with business partners, bankers, suppliers, even a few influencers Donna had invited. The theme was clear: celebrate the miracle of family found. I had kept my plans quiet, telling them only that I'd arrive a bit later after running an errand. No one pressed. Pulling up in the sleek black sports car Alexander had left me, one I rarely drove in LA, the valet's eyes widened as I handed over the keys. The engine's low rumble alone turned heads before I even stepped out. The dress was custom deep emerald silk that caught every light, fitted perfectly from a designer whose wait list ran years. Heels subtle but expensive, hair styled loosely, and the necklace a diamond pendant appraised higher than most cars resting at my throat. Earrings and watch completed it, understated to those who didn't know, quality unmistakable to anyone who did. Conversations hushed as I walked the gravel path toward the main tent. Phones lifted discreetly, flashes starting early. Donna spotted me first from across the lawn, champagne flute freezing halfway to her lips. Her face drained of color before she recovered, hurrying over in her cream gown. "Adriana, what is all this? The car, the dress? Where did you—" I smiled calmly. Just something I had saved for a special night. Harper appeared beside her, staring openly, mouth slightly parted. The younger woman's usual confidence faltered, eyes darting from the jewelry to the vehicle now parked prominently where guests could see. Stephen approached next, polite mask in place but eyebrows raised high. Quite the entrance. Jordan hung back a moment, taking it in before joining with a forced grin. Looking sharp, sis. Reporters sensed the shift, immediately clustering closer with questions about the dramatic arrival, tying into the reunion theme. Cameras clicked non-stop. I moved through the crowd gracefully, accepting compliments, posing briefly when asked. Whispers spread fast. Who was this version of the long-lost sister they'd heard about? The one who'd shown up in modest clothes before, now radiating something entirely different. Business associates, vendors owed money, partners considering extensions exchanged glances. A few pulled out phones, searching discreetly. Donna stayed close, voice low and urgent between smiles for photos. We need to talk about this. People are asking questions. Harper recovered enough to mutter, rental borrowed from a friend. Personal collection, I answered lightly. The quartet shifted to an upbeat piece, guests raising glasses for toasts. Stephen took the small stage, briefly welcoming everyone to celebrate, family restored against all odds. Applause followed, but eyes kept drifting my way. I circulated, chatting with suppliers about industry trends, mentioning my role in tech casually when pressed. Recognition flickered in some faces, names dropped from conferences or articles they'd seen. Henry Walsh arrived midway, nodding approval from the edges before blending in. The atmosphere charged gradually. What started as curiosity turned to speculation. The narrative they'd built, the humble returnee grateful for acceptance, cracked visibly without me saying much at all. Donna pulled me aside near the dessert table, grip tight on my arm. This isn't helping. We planned a certain story tonight. I met her gaze steadily. Stories change when new details come out. She released me quickly as a photographer approached, smile snapping back into place. The evening peaked with energy shifting entirely. No explanations needed yet. The visuals did the work, planting seeds that would grow fast. When everyone raised their glasses to toast the touching reunion under the stage lights. I stepped forward during a lull in the speeches, accepting a microphone someone offered. The crowd quieted, expecting a tearful thank you. Instead, I spoke evenly. For those who haven't caught up yet, I'm a senior executive at a major tech firm in Los Angeles. My life is more comfortable than it might have appeared these past weeks. Murmurs rippled immediately, louder than before. Phones came out openly now, searches starting in real time. A reporter near the front typed furiously. Donna's composure cracked. She set her flute down hard enough to clink audibly and crossed the lawn swiftly, grabbing my elbow to steer me toward a shadowed corner behind the dessert tent. "What are you doing?" she hissed once out of main earshot, voice low but fierce. This was supposed to be about unity, about the business turnaround. You're ruining everything we've set up tonight. Her grip tightened. All those interviews lined up, the partnerships we're courting, they need the sympathetic angle. The lost daughter grateful to come home. Not whatever this is. I didn't pull away, meeting her eyes directly. You mean the version where I'm harmless and useful? She glanced back at the guests, smile flickering on for anyone watching. Don't twist it. We welcomed you. Gave you a place here. Harper edged closer, having followed, face flushed. Yeah, and now you're showing off like this, making us look bad in front of everyone. Jordan hovered nearby, expression conflicted, part concern, part calculation as he scanned reactions. Stephen joined the huddle, tone measured. Let's discuss this calmly, inside perhaps. But I stayed put. No need. The discussion can happen right here in the open. Donna's panic rose. You're being selfish. The shops are struggling, real jobs on the line. This event was meant to help. The accusation hung between us. My fault for complicating their narrative. I spoke quietly, just for her. The man who raised me taught me something simple: people show who they really are when they believe the other person has nothing to offer them. Her face went still, recognizing the implication. Back in the main area, speculation grew, audible guests asking each other about my company, pulling up articles on phones. Suppliers who'd been skeptical about extending credit exchanged looks. Influencers live-streamed snippets, captions already shifting. Henry Walsh stood off to the side, arms crossed, watching the unraveling with quiet satisfaction. Donna released my arm, stepping back as if burned. "You planned this." "Not everything," I admitted, "but enough." The quartet resumed playing, but the mood had changed irreversibly. Toasts felt forced now, laughter thinner. Cameras focused more on me than the family grouping for photos. Stephen tried rallying with another speech about resilience, but voices overlapped with questions directed my way. I answered a few, confirming my role, the inheritance that funded independence long ago. Nothing boastful, just facts. Harper muttered excuses and slipped away toward the house. Jordan attempted damage control, chatting up partners with reassurances. Donna remained nearby, composure fracturing further each time someone approached me instead of her. The evening continued, but the script they'd written no longer held. Control slipped visibly, one conversation at a time. Stephen stepped onto the stage, his smile strained as he took the microphone and invited me up for a few words of thanks to the family. The crowd applauded politely, expecting something heartfelt. I walked up the steps, calmly accepting the mic amid flashes from cameras. "Ladies and gentlemen," I began, voice steady and clear. "Tonight was meant to celebrate a miracle reunion, but miracles deserve the full truth." A hush fell. Phones stayed raised. First, the business side. The Gomez bakery chain is in serious financial trouble, deep debt from rising costs and lost market share. The plan was to use my return as a PR tool, headlines about family restored to draw customers and reassure lenders. Gasps scattered through the tent. Reporters scribbled faster. Donna rushed toward the stage edge, face pale. "This isn't the time," I continued. "Second the money trail. Over years, funds have been diverted from company accounts for personal use, hundreds of thousands in small transfers that added up." Harper froze near the front, color draining. Henry Walsh moved forward from the crowd, carrying a folder. He climbed the steps without hurry and handed it to a nearby journalist. "Bank statements, expense logs, transaction records, all public or legally obtained. They show the pattern clearly." The reporter flipped through, eyes widening. "Third," I said, "the story itself. I wasn't lost by accident at 5. Records and witnesses confirm I was left intentionally at a mall parking lot, no search efforts matching the scale described." Henry spoke up beside me. "I handled related matters for Alexander Reyes. Police reports from the time, lack of widespread alerts, it doesn't align with a genuine accidental loss." Silence gripped the tent, now broken only by camera shutters. Stephen tried interrupting. "These are private matters." "Not when used publicly," I replied. "You built tonight on a selective narrative. The full one includes abandonment for convenience during hard times, then exploitation decades later when it served a purpose." Donna reached the stage, voice shaking. "You're destroying us." "No," I said. "Actions have consequences." I faced the audience directly. "I came here open to real connection. What I found was calculation. So tonight I choose to end it. I am cutting all ties with the Gomez family, blood or not. No contact, no claims, no role in each other's lives. Ever." I set the microphone down. The quiet was absolute for a beat. Then whispers erupted. Guests backed away from the family cluster. Partners murmured excuses and headed for exits. Reporters swarmed with questions I ignored. I walked off the stage, down the path past frozen figures. Harper stared in shock. Jordan looked lost. Donna stood motionless. Stephen gripped the podium like it might hold him up. Valets brought my car quickly. I drove out under the same lights, now feeling cold. Weeks later, the fallout hit hard and public. Local papers ran exposés, financial woes laid bare, embezzlement probe launched by authorities after Henry's documents reached the right desks. Major suppliers pulled lines of credit. Foot traffic plummeted further as boycotts spread online. Harper faced formal inquiries from banks and the IRS over the diverted funds, civil penalties looming, reputation shattered. The chain closed several locations quietly. The Gomez name, once proud in food circles around San Francisco, became cautionary. I returned to Los Angeles' work routine. No messages came, no attempts at reconciliation. The door closed both ways. Looking back, the real lesson isn't about revenge. Its simpler: family isn't defined by blood or shared history. It's proven in everyday choices, how people treat you when they believe you bring nothing to the table. When they assume you're ordinary, powerless, disposable, that's when character shows clearest. Alexander Reyes taught me that and lived it. He chose me when no one else did. That's the only family worth claiming.